Hey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm just gonna eat some marble cake. I figured it's gonna fit in the macros, so hey, why not?
Marble cake? Isn't that bad for you? Doesn't that make you fat?
I'll let you be the judge of that one. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy John Mango, and I'm repping Beyond the Iron, where we're looking to take your fitness and nutrition further so you can change your life forever. Now, if you're new here, I like to make a lot of workout videos, muscle gain, fat loss videos, but I also like to talk on certain topics, especially controversial topics, just like in this video. So if you're new, this kind of stuff interests you, and you're looking to make some gains, then you know what? It would probably be a good idea if you subscribed, but hey, that's up to you. And then you can become part of the BTI squad. Also, if you stick until the end of this video, I'm gonna give you my personal advice as a coach to my client of exactly how to increase your adherence, meaning how much you can stick to a program or a diet while including the foods you love and still making progress. Let's do this. So, as opposed to giving you a list of bad foods, I'm gonna be giving you somewhat of a blueprint or a very general guideline as to exactly how to determine whether or not a food is unhealthy or healthy, which ones fall under these categories, and if so or if not, why. Now, I do have my laptop right here with me, and I've got some notes because I did get down just a couple studies to kind of back things up. I'm going to be referencing a video as well. I just want to really get this point across in this video because this is one of the most controversial, one of the most hated topics of all time, because everybody thinks that they know the answer, but in reality, it appears that most may not have the answer. What a surprise there, right? Now, I'm not saying that I'm a genius, but I am. I'm just playing. Anyways, let me start with this. If I said the words unhealthy person, what is it that would first come to mind? It'd probably be something like this, or it's gonna be something like this. Regardless, obviously they're gonna be opposite ends of the spectrum. Nobody's gonna really picture somewhere in between, a person with average body fat or regular normal body fat, normal structure and all that kind of stuff. It's always gonna be one of those two examples. Now, what if I told you that I know a lot of people that don't eat those foods that I previously mentioned, the junk, the pop chips, but they look like this? Yeah, it's kind of troubling, right? Well, what if I told you the same thing for other people that I know, they don't eat those foods and they look like this? Or better yet, how about people I know that eat only those foods that I mentioned, yet they look like this? Now, would you believe me? Of course, because I'm sure you might even know some people like this. So if that's the case, right off the bat, just going off logic alone, we can see that it doesn't necessarily matter what kind of food you eat in terms of the output it's gonna have on your body composition, but it's gonna rely more so on fundamental things such as how much of these foods you're eating or how much food you're eating in general. Now, besides this, it's also gonna depend heavily on person's genetics and on their life circumstances. For the purpose of this video, we're simply going to keep those as controlled variables, say everybody's situation is the same, just to kind of paint you a picture here, and then I can go into some detail about how life scenarios could change things down the road. But for now, we're gonna focus on the factor of how much food you're intaking versus what kinds of foods. So if you watch my content regularly and any other fitness expert on YouTube or in the industry, if you watch any of our content, you'll notice a pretty trendy thing here. You should know by now that calories are going to determine weight gain or weight loss. So, the typical calories in, calories out. Now, before you turn the video off, you gotta listen to this, okay? Because if you're gonna turn the video off, you're not gonna educate yourself or open your mind to the possibility of what I'm gonna say. So, picture this. If you were to eat 500 calories less than what you burn on a daily basis, would you not agree that you are going to lose fat and weight, for that matter, lean body mass included? The answer is yes. There is plenty of conclusive scientific evidence that would show, and again, from a more logical standpoint, less energy consumed than what you are outputting. Nature of the universe relies on this principle, so essentially, if you're inputting less energy than you're outputting, there will be less energy overall. Fat is a form of energy, therefore fat stores will decrease. At the end of the day, fast food doesn't have special calories that make you fat versus chicken, rice, veggies, or whatever you deem as healthy foods. The calories are ultimately calories to your body. People like to argue and say, well, calories and food is information. I agree. It is information. However, you must always come back to the fundamental principle of energy in versus energy out. This is the way the universe is structured. Now, if you decide to disagree with this law of thermodynamics, as it's called, then you also happen to disagree with the law of gravity. So at the end of the day, what that means is if you have 500 calories of a Big Mac from McDonald's, and you have 500 calories of a chicken breast from Costco or whatever your local organically grown market, regardless, it was 500 calories to your overall energy intake. Now, the reason I'm using this McDonald's Big Mac, for example, is because there was actually a self-experiment done by a man named John Cisna, who actually ate nothing but McDonald's and Twinkies. So regardless, the calorie deficit is crucial. However, there's obviously reasons why you wouldn't want to consume junk food when it comes to trying to lose weight, but it has nothing to do with the fact that if you do consume it, you will automatically gain or not lose weight. Now, the reason why this study isn't commonly spoken about is because people hide it under the rug. People don't like expressing this because it shows that the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the McDonald's Big Mac in this case. Cannot alienate a food because then you're missing the bigger picture of what it is that's going to get you to your goals, and ultimately restricting yourself on foods that you may enjoy, which might be some sort of fast food or some sort of sweets or chocolate or whatever the case may be. Restricting yourself on that will ultimately lead to your demise in the sense of not following your program and never losing the weight because of that. And if you were to include certain foods but still work it into your diet budget and make it to your fitness goals. So if a calorie deficit is key, then why is there even any label as to an unhealthy or healthy food? As an example, I'm going to be linking a video by Jeff Nippard Fitness. Okay, this is a fellow Torontonian who posted a video. He's got a great channel, lots of scientific evidence and research, and he posted a video covering the effects of sugar and covering all the studies that have to do with sugar when it relates to actual obesity or weight and fat gain. So I'm gonna be taking a study from there. I'm actually gonna link it in the comments below so you can check it out, read a little bit more in depth if you'd like. I'm taking the study that he refers to in that video that suggests that they realized in this study that there's no possible way that a single food or nutrient can be responsible for the ultimate bigger picture of weight gain or loss. And especially it can't be the reason for the obesity epidemic that we're currently experiencing. And my favorite part about that study is the part where they've come to the conclusion that people often mistake correlation with causation. So that being said, correlation is, let's say there is a correlation to obesity and the availability of sugar. Again, I'm gonna link another study on sugar availability correlating to increased weight gain in certain areas around the United States. However, correlation does not mean that that nutrient or food directly caused it. Alright, but if that's true, why does the world and everybody know and seemingly put these foods into that label instinctively almost? Well, that's gonna come down to a few key things. One is, like I said at the beginning, not many people know about the calories in versus calories out concept. Law of thermodynamics has been tucked under the rug because, again, a lot of people are keeping others in the dark. They wouldn't want to release this concept to the public because people would realize that, oh wait, I don't need that 12-week special cutting fat loss meal plan diet program from that person. I just need to eat less of what I'm eating now. The second reason why they correlate to obesity and weight gain is because they do not have lots of nutrients in them. These foods are very low micronutrients, so they're not nearly as filling and as satiating as micronutrient dense foods, such as, these whole foods, foods that people would deem healthy. For example, take veggies versus a McDonald's burger. McDonald's seems to be the example I'm sticking with because it's the most common one, but you can have a massive bowl of veggies like this and you will be extremely full. However, you will only have consumed maybe a couple hundred calories. Whereas if you have the same volume of McDonald's burgers, you probably wouldn't be able to finish it. And by the end, no matter how much of it you finish, you're gonna eat well over a couple hundred. You're probably gonna get into a couple thousand calories just because these are what people deem empty calories, meaning again, there's not enough micronutrients in them for your body to feel satisfied. So it's easier to overeat on these foods if you're not aware of the concept I just previously mentioned. And the third reason why people would correlate and automatically place these foods into that category of unhealthy is because people are just not very aware of health in general, okay? If we look around, it's mostly habits, it's media, you know, all the media is just convincing you, and misinformed people behind the media that say, whoa, sugar is terrible, we gotta inform the world, sugar is terrible. But what basis do they really have for that information? They don't. However, they have the power to influence the minds of millions of people to think the same way they do, which is an uninformed way of thinking. So ultimately, people don't realize that they're getting fat. As they do get fat, they don't exercise, they have destructive habits. It's a combination of these things that people can easily just turn to something and say, well, that is unhealthy, single it out. However, they don't do anything to improve their health or their body in the first place. And you know, I just want to go a little bit more into the fact that advertising is also the reason why people label foods as unhealthy. So obviously, these top companies around the world have a budget of millions, billions of dollars, and their whole goal is to sell and make money. That is the purpose of a company usually. And these companies, they don't purposely create foods that are trying to kill people. That is not the goal. That was not the goal of the company when they first started, okay? And it's still not the goal today. Their goal is to make more money than they did yesterday. So they invest heavily into advertising, and especially people that can manipulate the psychology of humans to make sure that advertising is effective. So people have essentially conditioned most people, our society has conditioned people to think, this is an unhealthy food, I must exclude it. This is a healthy food, I must include it. These kinds of things are really just a result of misinformation, extremely effective marketing, and ineffective on the healthier side of things, and also just complete unawareness or unwillingness to improve and better their lives. So just imagine a place or world where you can eat the foods that you still love. It could be, I don't know, my example would be Subway. I love Subway. Imagine you can still eat that and lose fat and lose weight and get closer to your goals. The reality is that this world exists and you're living in it right now. You just have to understand, be aware, and listen to the information that myself and these other fitness experts, the true fitness experts, are giving you, okay? So I'm gonna be linking a couple more studies down below, and now you're probably wondering, so what are the foods that are unhealthy? Are you gonna give me the list? Well, that's gonna depend on those three factors I told at the beginning. So in other words, I hate to break it to you, and I guess it's time for the dislikes to start rolling in, but there is no such thing as an unhealthy food, okay? If you think that Gatorade is bad, then that is just an all or nothing mentality, and that is the problem, not the food. Again, I have done this multiple times. I recently showed in my Cutting Chronicles videos, which you can check out right here if you haven't seen them. I take you through my days of eating where I'm literally losing weight and building or maintaining muscle at the same time. I'm eating the foods that I choose to eat because it's convenient, it's easy, I like them, and I know how to use them and still get to my goals. So it's all about the concept, calories in versus calories out. You gotta be aware of your habits when it comes to improving your physical state, your body, your life. And from there, the unhealthy foods that people deem unhealthy are really just foods that are low in micronutrients. So things that have empty calories could be considered unhealthy simply because people overeat on those foods, whereas when it comes to very micronutrient dense foods, it's very hard to overeat on those. Now, I know that there's also gonna be people arguing about how, well, you know, they also put additives and all these things in there to trigger dopamine in your brain and all that kind of stuff. But again, that's gonna come down to self-discipline and the paradigm that you live in. So if you are stuck in the fact that everybody else is doing something to you, the world is doing it to you, as opposed to you are doing whatever it is you're doing to yourself, you are the only one responsible, then you can't blame fast food companies for doing what they do. At the end of the day, they are not trying to kill people, they're not trying to cause obesity. They just happen to be causing obesity because people don't have the self-control, they're unaware, and they give into the advertising that they hope that they give into. So that's it. I don't have a list of foods that are unhealthy because technically they don't exist unless we're looking at things such as alcohol, in which case, yes, alcohol, too much of it, too much of any food is unhealthy. Too much water is unhealthy. That's the context you need to look at it as. Just a little bit of alcohol was found to be healthy. just a little bit of caffeine was found to be healthy. This kind of stuff has been uncovered in recent years, and it's kind of opened our eyes, especially in the fitness industry. We've all come to realize that a flexible dieting approach is key. Sugar is not going to hold you back from being fat. If you're not losing weight, it has nothing to do with the sugar, although cutting it might be in your best interest, at least cutting it down. You don't have to cut it out completely. If you cut out the sugar completely and you start going through withdrawal and you don't enjoy what you're eating, then you know what? It's actually healthier to keep some sugar in there to cause an increase in adherence and allow you to stick to your plan over time. And I hope this has all made sense, and if you're one of the people that stuck around to the end, you're in luck. I'm gonna tell you the special way that you can eat whatever foods you want and realize that there is no unhealthy, but there's a good balance to go off of so that you can include these foods in your diet and still make progress. This is gonna be the 85 to 15% rule. That's what I like to call it. Now, obviously there's Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule. I made this kind of something for me to give my clients, and something that I seem to follow myself, is having 85% of the foods in your diet dedicated to whole nutrient dense foods. Again, this is gonna help with satisfaction. It's gonna hold you over for longer. It's gonna be harder to overeat on. Those other 15% of foods, you can have whatever you'd like. However, the catch is you gotta be tracking your calories so you know that you're not going over with those foods, and you gotta be in a calorie deficit by the end. At the end of the day, it's the foods that taste the best that are deemed unhealthy simply because people overeat on them, which causes them to be unhealthy. It's not the foods themselves. So 85 to 15 principle diet rule is one I preach all the time. It's the one that I've found with myself, my clients, my friends, my family, that increases adherence the most and ultimately gets you the most results with the most enjoyment. I hope that helped. If you have any questions about anything that I mentioned in today's video, go ahead and comment below. I'm gonna leave a couple extra studies for you regarding certain foods and nutrients that people always find controversial or are so easy and quick to label that is a bad food. I'm gonna be leaving those for you in the comments below, so definitely check those out if you're interested in knowing more. Or if you don't believe me, shoot me a comment and I'll reply back, whether it's a question, an argument, or whatever the case is. I'm here to answer. Also, follow my social media. This is John Mango from Beyond the Iron. Remember, my goal here is to take your fitness and nutrition further so you could change your life forever. I would not give you harmful advice. This is simply to open your world to the possibility and the reality of how to get in shape the best way possible. So that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. I'll see you on that next video. I'm out.